freak out, freak out. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful handful of days. I've been in Williamsburg, Virginia, attending AuthorCon 555. That's only 5, so it's not 555. The AuthorCon 5, first time I've ever attended such a thing, and it was a pleasure being able to see lots of books, being able to see lots of authors, and being able to see some special folks. One in particular that I was so excited to see. In fact, without Fracassi, I would have skipped out totally. I wanted to get a chance to meet Philip Fracassi so that I could say, without reservation, my good friend, Philip. For a long time I've been saying my good friend Philip, whom I've never even met. But I got to hang out with the fella, got to talk to him a bit. You saw a little bit of a conversation that we had. Got to hang with him at the bar. Got to let him hang with my kids. Sit around, BS some. He even stashed boxes of books that I had behind his table in his way, in his wife Stephanie's way. Good fellow, good fellow. They say don't meet your heroes, but sometimes you should. Philip Fracassi's a phenomenal guy. All in all, it was a big, big win. But I'm glad to be back. I've been gone a while. I took my sons with me, but I missed my wife, so I was waiting, excited to come home to give her a big hug and a big one kiss. And I also was excited because I knew there was a box. The friendly neighborhood mail lady had delivered while I was gone. The friendly neighborhood mail lady hooked the brother up with a package from PP. And no, that's not patience and persistence, it's PP. Phantasia Press. One of my favorite limited edition publishers on God's green earth. They have produced some wonderful books, and I've got some of them, a handful at least, some old, some new on my shelf. And this is the one for me, the one that I've truly been excited for, the one that I'm truly excited about. And I'm BSing with a box in my hand, and I need to open that mother up and see what it is. It is the third rule of time travel. And I bought this thing just as fast as I could, as quick as I could mash them buttons. I made the purchase. And if memory serves, it was $150 plus shipping. So probably around $160 to get it delivered. Assuming shipping, media mail shipping would be $10. Probably that's about what I paid. And I've already read the book. And I loved it. Philip Fracassi is one of my favorite authors on God's green earth. And that's not because I just met the fellow. I thought so after reading the very first Fracassi that I'd read. And once I hit the 3 mark, I felt like I could say it with comfort. But now I've read five Fracassis. And he's 5 for 5. And there ain't many authors, if any, that I've read. There's not many. There are some where I've read 5 books and I said they were all 5 great books that I really, really enjoyed. Most authors, you're going to hit some in there, 1 or 2 or 3 in that first 5 that it's going to be like, it was okay. There's not a gelding in the bunch if Fracassis were horses. And I think that stands on its own. Anyway, they have all been great. I've loved each one. That's Boys in the Valley. That's Gothic. That's A Child Alone with Strangers. That's Sarafina. And that's the third rule of time travel. But this, as far as the third rule of time travel goes, my opinion, this is the edition, the limited edition, the grand poobah, the big kahuna, the mother of all editions. Can't see them getting really any better than this. There are some great publishers, no insult to any of them, but Phantasia does great stuff, and I really couldn't ask for anything more. So I showed you the box. They ship it in a nice sturdy box with cushion in there, and then it's packed in an envelope with the PP sticker on there. And I was able to save a PP sticker from my last Phantasia Press unboxing, and I've got it stuck on a permanent place, and I like it. Maybe I'll try to take good care of this one and see if I can let it survive the unboxing. I don't know why, but why do I need 2 stickers? Why do you need anything? Why do you need 8 copies of your favorite book? only me. But let's see, I got the receipt that would tell me it doesn't tell me the price. But anyways, $150, and I think shipping was 10, and included is the Phantasia, see the eyeballs and the pee-pee. Phantasia Press bookmark. So cool, too cool for the school. But the book is wrapped in a shrink wrap, and you can see the number on the, right there, number 71. I'm assuming that means I got copy number 71. Now, some folks leave it there and they put it on the shelves and they leave it shrink wrapped, and it'll be new and sealed in original packaging forever and ever and ever. I do not do that. I remove the shrink wrap for a variety of reasons, but the biggest one for me is I want to be able to see what I got. I want to be able to verify it is what it is on the inside and all that stuff, but I want to be able to enjoy it. I want to be able to see it and feel it and smell it and all that kind of stuff. So I open it up, and this kind of makes people nervous because this is sharp. I keep it sharp. It is sharp. It's a tool, but it is sharp. And I've got a very sharp instrument next to a book that I buy precious, that I've already told you I'm excited for. I can't wait for. It's important to me, and it cost me $150 plus freight. And that makes people nervous, but it doesn't make me nervous because I've got a foolproof method. Want to hear it? That method is that you cut the plastic, you don't cut the book. Simple as that. Works every time. Until it doesn't. But on my slipcase, there's a little piece of tape that says 71 again. So not only does the shrink wrap tell me what the number is, but this little piece of a post-it note or something that's stuck to the book also tells me what it is. Like, feels like a post-it note. Sticky. Not that sticky anyway. It comes right off. But looking at right up front at this slipcase, this is freaky. What does it do? How does it look to you? When I look at it, I see 3D. I see the Twilight Zone. It's cool. Cool stuff. But I love slipcases. And Phantasia Press includes slipcases. And that's one of the things that I dig about them. That adds value. So when you're paying $150, and there's a publisher out there right now that would sell you a book like this for probably $200, and it wouldn't have a slipcase. And everybody loves the publisher, and they're a great one. Phantasia Press includes a slipcase, which I don't know, you may pay $50 for a slipcase of this quality for a book like this. So it adds great value. Plus, I just like the slipcase. It's better when it's got a slipcase. And it isn't cheap stuff. It's thick. Look at there. It's thick and sturdy and stout. And it looks really cool. So you got for the people that like to put their books on the shelves the wrong way, up here with the Fracassis, Phantasia Press has got you hooked up. The third rule of time travel, Philip Fracassi, Phantasia Press. Nothing would be worse than having a book up here with a blank spine and you don't know what's in it unless you remember it. So they took the memory out of it. They dumbing the world down for us. They're making it easy for us, making it look better. And the other side, can you see the sparkly looking finish? It's really, really good looking, but one side's blank. And let me set that aside and show you what else there is. Francois Vaillancourt, my favorite illustrator on God's Green Earth, has illustrated a fabulous science fiction book from one of my favorite authors on God's Green Earth by one of my favorite publishers on God's Green Earth. And what I call that is win-win. Win. Excellent stuff. I want to ring this bell. It's been in the garage on the shelf for a long, long time. I wanted a big brass bell, and I saw it at a flea market for like $5. Here it is. Ring the dang gum thing. That's the worst thing about bells. When you got a bell, what do you got to do? Ring it. But let's take a look again at this dust jacket illustration by Francois Vaillancourt. It does look swell, like all of his work does. But there's a lot of stuff, a lot of details from the story in there that if you look closely, and there's the spine. So in the book, or in the slipcase, I don't know, have I shown you this? Let's see. Here's what it looks like sitting on the shelf my way. That's how I put it on the shelf. Looks really, really good. looks just too sweet. And again, story built in to the artwork. So nice. So let's open this book up, take off the dust jacket, stretch her out a little bit, show you what she looks like all stretched out so you can see Francois' work in all of its splendid glory, as well as the graphic designer. I'm sure other folks have a hand in it, and I don't want to ignore their efforts. It just looks so good. So let's see, what does Phantasia tell us about this one? Francois Vaillancourt is the illustrator. And what else? Does it say anything about design? It does not, so we'll leave it at that. But rule number 1, travel can only occur at destination points during the previous lifetime of the traveler. These destination points are random. Rule number 2, the traveler only has enough energy to maintain contact with the arrival world for approximately 90 seconds. And rule number 3, the traveler has no ability to interact with the world they have traveled to. The traveler can only observe. And rules are meant to be broken, and rules are not always what they seem, but it just looks so good. So I'll show you a little bit about the book. We'll talk a little bit about the book. Here it is, all naked, and look how good it looks like this. It's one of those books that when you take off the dust jacket, you have a fabulous looking book. And it is quality stuff. Smith's sewn binding. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is just nice. And let's open it up, and holy, I don't know if I even knew about this. Dadgum, look at those end papers. Wow. Holy cow. I started to say crap. Is it okay if I say crap? Seems a little bit crass, but I'm a low class. Anyway, holy cow. We'll stick to that, Robin. But those end papers are just fantastic. Golly. Phantasia Press exceeds expectation. And they have. This is the 3rd book I've got of theirs since they restarted publishing after a long, long hiatus. And all 3 have been absolutely fantastic publications. Great work from a great publisher. Books that look good are much better than books that don't look good. But a great story needs a great looking book with high quality products and such as that. High quality design and high quality craftsmanship. And that's what Phantasia Press is giving us here. So I am 100% pleased with everything that I've gotten from them. The 2-color printing. I mean, I would say you hear something like a labor of love a lot of times, and I kind of get that people love what they do and they put so much effort into making it as good as it can be. And that's, I didn't make the book, so I don't want to take any credit, but that's exactly the impression I get here. Somebody loves this stuff. Somebody at Phantasia Press, or some people, or lots of somebodies, they love this stuff, and they're putting heart and soul into making sure that Philip Fracassi's work gets the treatment it deserves, and he deserves it. So it's nice to see, nice to see such things. Now, just as I'm flipping through these pages, it's beautiful. The butterflies, the multicolor print, and it's on every page. I mean, all the way through this book. It isn't just a few pages, it's all the way through. There's our rear end papers. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just fabulous. And I don't know if it'll glittery, no glitter on my fingers anyway. It seems like I would rub this and I'd have glitter all over the fingers, but it's not there. So no Glittergate going on for Stephen Dwayne Allison Jr. But it just looks great. And this signature page, I'm going to flip through the book a little bit here in a minute, but this signature page is to die for, whatever that means. I do not know, but it looks beautiful. It looks so nice. And mine is copy, after all, copy number 71 of only 500, well, less 750 numbered copies, 26 lettered copies, and 4 Roman editions. Signed by author author Philip Fracassi, artiste Francois Vaillancourt, professional illustrator extraordinaire. And there it is, and it looks so sweet, so nice. And I can't remember, I think there are interior illustrations because I've seen some pictures. So I'm going to flip through here. try my dangdest, try my best to find all of them. Because I don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to leave something out. I want to show, I want to see, and I want to tell all. And so here's one interior illustration. The third rule of time travel, as the title may indicate, is a science fiction book about time travel. But it is not your grandma's time travel novel. This is not H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, although it is every bit as good, if not better. And I love H.G. Wells, and I love The Time Machine, so it almost sounds unnecessary to compare. But as good as that book is, this book is right there. Very different, though. And aloha. This was a question. My wife read this book. Maybe the only book that I've ever read that she went and read. Now, she has read a book that I've then gone and read. But this book she read, and one of the questions that when she was done, she said, when you see Philip, ask him about this coffee cup. No spoilers. She said, ask him about it because I've got questions. And so in Williamsburg, I asked him. He gave me his explanation, and I gave her his explanation. However that worked. But she loved the book as well. Not her usual fare. We don't read the same kinds of things, so we usually don't read the same things. But we kind of made a deal. I said, I think you'll love this character. Beth Barnes, the main character in this book. I thought my wife would associate with Beth in some ways, and I thought that she would like this book. Philip did a great job, in my opinion, of giving us a very believable, very realistic, strong female lead character, but suffers from a lot of the same issues that a lady may have in the workplace. I've never been a scientist, but in a scientist, having to deal with people in positions of power and how a lady may be treated and how a lady may stand up for herself and deal with the complex balance between profession and work life and home and children and problems in the personal life and problems in the professional life and how that can be problematic. I felt like he wrote what I've experienced as a man being with women in the workplace, like my mom, like my grandmother, like my mother, my mom and my mother. They're the same person. Like my stepmother, like my wife. So I've been around it. And Beth Barnes felt like somebody I knew. Like somebody that I lived with. Like somebody that I experienced their problems with. And I thought my wife could relate, and she did. And she really liked the story. And it may be the first ever science fiction novel that she's ever read. But she read it, and it worked out well. I felt confident in this book that I could say, hey, you're going to like this one. You need to read it. And as a consequence, we had to strike a deal. So she made me read a Kristen Hanna book. I don't know if you've ever heard of Kristen Hanna. Philip Fracassi recommended her. So I hold him partially to blame. Kristen Hanna, gosh, she puts a lot of heavy stuff in her books, at least the one I read. And not only did it bring tears to my eyes over and over and over, but I felt the pain, I felt the blues, I felt the agony. And my wife has one coming. I owe her big for that one. I owe Philip big for that one. Anyway, the third rule of time travel, in a nutshell, lady named Beth Barnes. Her husband has passed away now. She and her husband were working on a form of time travel where essentially you're uploading your memories into a computer, and then the computer uses a wormhole to send your consciousness into yourself into the past. And you can see through your own eyes, you can hear through your own ears, you can feel through your own skin, you can smell all that kind of stuff. And it only lasts about 90 seconds, and you cannot control it. Which sounds great, because looking at my life, there are so many situations that I would love to go back and relive. 90-second clips. I wish I could go be there again. Feel that feeling again. See those things again. Problem is, they can't control the when and the where. So you go back and you don't know where you're going. And it may be a wonderful point in time. It may be the worst point in time. But Beth and her husband decide to sell their research, to sell their intellectual property to a large company. And then her husband dies. So this large company owns their research, owns their intellectual property, and Beth is an employee for this company. And she's continuing her experiments to try to solve the problem of how do you control it. Well, the owner is now meddling and putting in people that she feels like are sabotaging her work. At the same time, he is starting to lose confidence in her for a variety of reasons. I don't want to spoil anything. And starts to take away her ability to do what she does. And in the meantime, things are going wrong. And they need to be fixed. And the only way Beth can continue to try to fix these problems is to continue, but her boss is getting in the way. I won't give you anything else from there, but it is a book that explores what I talked about before, the turmoil and the conflicts between work life and home life and loss, and it dredges up pain and agony from the past, as well as problems that must be solved or else. It also has a man in this case, in power, who controls everything and doesn't really care about how it affects others. So there's all sorts of issues here, and it is a great story. Like every story Philip's written, great story, well told, well written, and it's his foray into science fiction. So you got a horror writer now writing science fiction, a science fiction novel. And I did an interview with him in Williamsburg at the AuthorCon, and he talked a little bit about how a horror writer might write a science fiction novel, how that worked. Watch that interview and you can get that figured out. A lot of insight onto how the Fracassi works, how the Fracassis are made. Anyway, I can think of no more lies to tell, so thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And say la vie, baby. To-do. Now, only a few minutes ago, I showed you a picture of an Aloha mug from their trip to Hawaii. And I took a trip to Hawaii, and I am actually going back again later this year. And I have, coincidentally, my own coffee cup that came from Hawaii, although it's not Aloha, it's Kraken Coffee. And I bought coffee at this joint because their logo was so cool. And I just had to go see this place. And I had to go get a cup. The coffee was great. The kids, although don't drink coffee, they had smoothies that knocked their socks off. So Kraken Coffee in Maui has a cool logo, great coffee, and the kids say the smoothies are to die for, which may indeed occur if you mess with the Kraken.